Why would anyone on the left, especially people who, like Don Lemon, the bigoted racist moron from, I forget if he's on CNN, one of those extreme leftist networks, why would any leftist, especially someone who's in a group who self-identifies as a victim, there's a huge victim narrative on the left in the West with feminists, but also women, blacks, trans, so other groups, disabled. If you're in one of these groups, so, say black like Don Lemon, Oprah Winfrey, prominent racist, race baiter, person who funds films that are anti-white. If you're one of these people, and you genuinely believe black people are discriminated against because they're black, why wouldn't you want a post-racial world? Why? And Don Lemon has said he doesn't want this. He says he likes being black. He likes having that as his identity, and he likes that being important. I'm not saying he should become white. I'm saying a post-racial society is good. We should get to that. That's where no one gives a fuck what race you are. It's just like eye colour. I think that's good. He said he's against that. Now, why would anyone who genuinely thinks they're part of a victim group like that, why on earth would they not want to live in a post-racial world? Well, it's because they're not actually victims. Being a quote-unquote victim on the left, it gives you actual status. In the religion of intersectionality, which is what almost every decision on the left is based on now, the caste system that the left is trying to install in society and has succeeded in installing in many ways with racial quotas, etc., gender quotas, the fuck white men agenda, the fuck whites agenda, the fuck men agenda. The caste system that the left wants to install, where straight white men are the lowest caste, the Dalits, the untouchables, that caste system that the left, as I say, has successfully installed to some extent already, that actually gives these quote-unquote victim groups, as Don Lemon is not a victim, Oprah Winfrey is not a victim, gives these groups a higher status. So if we have a post-racial society where race is as important as eye colour, that is, it's pretty just an irrelevant afterthought. It's not important at all. You're not going to get discriminated against because you're eye colour. If we get to a post-racial society, which clearly morally that's where we want to be, it will disadvantage Don Lemon and other far leftists. They'll have less prestige and less power in society. It's self-serving, and it's shocking that they would selfishly want to prevent a post-racial society. That's obviously morally where humanity should go. What we actually have here is a highly racist society, but it's not racist in the way people think. Society isn't racist against black people. Society is racist against white people. Don Lemon is effectively the slave owner, or someone who benefits from owning slaves, and he's fighting against civil rights. He's fighting against civil rights for all. He wants to maintain his privilege. Don Lemon has black privilege. Black privilege is where it's probably the only reason he got his job. People treat him with extra deference because he's black. Society has flipped. Black privilege is becoming increasingly more important than white privilege. Do you think, I think it's CNN, do you think CNN think it's a good thing or a bad thing that one of their main anchors, Don Lemon, is black? Do you think he would be there if he was equally as talented and white? Of course fucking not. He got there because of his black privilege, and he doesn't want to give up his black privilege. That's why he doesn't want a post-racial society. Anyone that doesn't want a post-racial society is privileged in some way, and they're using their unfair advantage to get money, to get fame, to get power. That is what Don Lemon, that's what Oprah Winfrey is doing. That's what probably pretty much every high-profile black is doing in the US. They're playing this duplicitous game of, oh, look how oppressed we are, while they're being discriminated in favour of and getting money. The more they talk about slavery and stuff that's completely irrelevant to the modern society, the more money they get. The more they say, we're victims, blacks are victims, the more money they get. Look at Colin Kaepernick. Shit American football player, mediocre at best. So what does he do? He pretends that, oh, blacks are victims, give me money. Gets a Nike. And Nike is how you pronounce it, not Nike. It is Nike. They say it wrong. Whoever created the company says it wrong. He gets money from Nike. He gets money from sponsorships. He gets publicity. Oh, look how oppressed we are because we're black. What about fucking poor white people? Poor white people are as oppressed as poor black people. No one gives a fuck about them, do they? It's a deeply racist society now against whites in favour of blacks. And a useful way of telling who is the grifter, who's just stealing money, who doesn't really give a fuck about politics or society or fairness, who just wants the cash, is if you're against a post-racial society, as Don Lemon is, as Oprah Winfrey is, as Colin Kaepernick probably is, you're just a fucking money grabber and you're just a racist twat. You don't care about black people being murdered like a war zone in Chicago. You don't give a fuck about that. You just want the money. You're leveraging a fake victimhood status to get cash and fame. You don't give a fuck about black. Don Lemon doesn't give a fuck about poor black people. Well, what's he done for poor black people? Nothing. He gives a fuck about his own fame, his own power, his own money. If he didn't, he would want a post-racial society, because a post-racial society takes race out of the equation. If you think there's any unfairness in society around race, and there is some in both directions, I hasten to add, how do we fix that? Well, a post-racial society totally fucking destroys that problem immediately. Why on earth would you be against it? For self-serving reasons, that's why. So this is why many prominent blacks do not want a post-racial society. You know who else doesn't want a post-racial society? Actual fucking Nazis. Real white supremacists, of which there's a few thousand in the world. Not 50%. Not everyone who voted for Trump's a white supremacist. Not even 1% of people who voted for Trump's white supremacist. Almost no one's a white supremacist. People that don't want a post-racial society are Nazis, literal Nazis, and far leftists. People that race bait. People that leverage victimhood to get cash, like Don Lemon, like Colin Kaepernick, like anyone who says they don't want a post-racial society. Ask that question. When they say they don't want it, be very suspicious. Start asking more questions, because they're probably just a money-grabbing fucking racist.